A real polished prospect right here.
Oh, big left for Levy. That backs up Santana, and another one. Oh, huge kick.
Know this. Introducing the original Blood Clot podcast, not players. Soothing semantic. Special dedication all the way from New York. Boom. Yeah, man. SWOT semantic. Yeah, me now. Boom. Soothing semantic. Yeah, me now. Big ups to the man now. Soothing semantics.
On another episode of Soothing Semantics, I am your host, Rafi Pinsky. Today we have Natan Levy. Welcome, brother. Good to have you.
Thanks for having me. What's up?
My pleasure. So, for whoever doesn't know, I'm sure a lot of you watching this do know, Natan recently signed a contract with the UFC. He is the third Israeli to join the UFC, currently the only one in the UFC. We had Noah Lahat, and you said there was one other which I didn't know about.
The orange thing was before me and Noah, but it was a different era. I think it was the early 90s. Maybe there weren't any gloves even in the fights. I'm not sure.
When headbutting was allowed.
Yeah, kind of that era. So, he was in the UFC, and we respect him for it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not what it is today. It was kind of a different sport. But he is without a doubt the first Israeli in the UFC.
I honestly haven't even heard of him. That's the weirdest part. I have to look into it. But I remember with Noah though, he was after one of his fights, he went off for one of the wars, which was very interesting. So I started actually following him. I followed his page because of you now, because I just haven't seen him in years, and now I see you and him are training a lot, and there's a good buddy of yours, Eli Barzilai.
Yeah, that's right. We train a lot together. We don't train at the same gym usually, but we make an effort to meet up and train because, especially for me, I got so much to learn from him. He's a veteran, he's a black belt in judo, jiu-jitsu. He was on the national team in the judo, so he's got so much knowledge. He's done what I'm doing now. He's done it before me, so all I gotta do is open my eyes and ears, and I'll learn from him.
That's amazing. I can't wait to see what you're gonna do, man. And you think Eli's a prospect? You think he?
Sure.
Oh, this is amazing.
Eli is only 19. He won second place in the world in Jiu-Jitsu. He's European champion in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu as well. And now he started to fight MMA. He's training in Vegas at such a young age. The first time I came to Vegas, I was 22. All I knew was karate. I didn't know anything on the ground, any wrestling, nothing.
Mm-hmm.
He's only 19. He's already a grappling champion. He's already had a few amateur MMA fights. And, the future is very bright.
Wow, I can't. That's amazing. There's so much pride. We have Denny Avdija. We have you. That's incredible. So
I think it's good when Israelis and Jews do good in sports.
It's not common,
it's
man.
A good thing.
Yeah, we always get the reputation of being the managers, not the fighters. Or the athletes.
Yeah, exactly. But that's a misconception. We can do whatever we put our mind to, and whether it be sports or anything else. Usually it's something else, and we do well. Sports we can do as well.
I agree, and you're really starting a trend. You're not the first one, but you're current, and from what I see, this is your life. You're taking it extremely seriously, and I'm really, really just standing behind you. And I'm going to root for you, man, and I'm looking forward to you kicking ass, dude. When do you mentioned that you plan on a fight in the UFC in around a month? What were you telling me?
I think I'm going to fight in the UFC at the beginning of 2021. That's what I hear. But people get COVID all the time. sometimes you gotta jump in there on 2 days' notice. I'm ready to do that again.
Yeah, like, well, you had how many? You had like 6 days notice.
2 days' notice.
Wow, damn, it's amazing. That was an incredible fight, man. That was an incredible fight. He was just so much taller than you, but it just wow. I didn't know it was 2 days. I thought it was longer than that. Okay.
I got the call on Sunday, and Tuesday was the fight.
That's crazy. It's
I was
amazing.
on my way to get some coffee and eat a sandwich or something.
Yeah.
And then I get the call, be ready in 2 days.
So what'd you do? You were just like, all right, fuck it, I got this.
Yeah, just, okay, coach, do you agree? Yes. All right, let's do it. Started cutting weight.
So what have you been experiencing now? Now that you're officially in the UFC, you met Dana White. What was that like, by the way?
That was cool. You know, it was from one point of view like a dream come true.
Mhm.
Yeah, you know, UFC for me, it's always been something in my dream to do. To sign with the UFC, fight in the UFC, fight in front of Dana. From the other side, it felt very natural. It felt like everything fell along. Uh, Everything fell into place. Like I already been there, and I'm just watching a memory. Like I know that I'm gonna get signed. I had no doubt in my mind I'm gonna get signed, and so it happened. And I know, you know, UFC was a dream, but it was more of a goal. I knew it was attainable, and I got there. Now the big challenge is climbing up the ranks, winning a bunch of fights in the UFC, getting ranked. So that's really the bigger goal.
That's incredible. I love that you manifested it. You knew for a fact you were going to get it, and here you are. I think that's so important. Whether you're a fighter or you're doing anything else, I love that attitude because you're willing it into existence.
True, but I just want to add for anybody, you know, sometimes every day I believe I'm going to get into the UFC. Sometimes more, sometimes less, right? Uh, you have like sometimes a little bit of self doubt. It's normal, it's natural. Sometimes you hit a big roadblock. A fight gets canceled or whatever it is, and you feel like, damn, is this really going to happen? I think the important thing is, even when you do have those doubts, you stay on track. One day of doubts doesn't mean you fly back home and give up on everything. You keep doing what you're supposed to be doing, what you told yourself you were going to do. In the day in which you believed in yourself the most, you follow that plan, even in those days where you believe a little less. That's okay, that's natural.
It's amazing. Because I feel like a lot of people think that those off days, that's it, it's over. You can have 20 days of fucking pushing and pushing and pushing and fighting, and then you have those couple of those few days where you just don't feel like it, and a lot of people lose that momentum. But we all get it. We all get those days where we feel a little shitty. We don't feel like we're, and it's just it's so important to remember why you're doing what you're doing. So I don't do MMA like you. Like I told you, I was a Chayal Boded, so I definitely for whoever doesn't know, a lone soldier in the IDF. So I definitely experienced that in my own way many times. Like just waking up and not being in the mood to do something. And it's definitely helped me in my daily life afterward because, a lot of the things now, just daily things, daily work things, are just not that difficult if you think about it. But,
and I think also it connects to for me, training, because there's some days where you get in the gym and you're on fire, you're untouchable, you're beating everybody up.
Yeah.
Some days you're the hammer, some days you're the nail. Some days you show up to the gym, you got no energy, you've been training your ass off, you're overtrained, you're undernutrition, you're underfed, you're tired, and then everybody slams on you, damn, I couldn't get one thing off today. Those are two extremes.
Sure.
You can't let those good days make you proud and to get you to perceive reality wrong, because you're not like that always. These are just some days. Same thing with the bad days. This is the good, this is the bad. Usually you're going to be somewhere in the middle. Whatever your average is, this is where you're really at. So good days, bad days, it's a part of the process. Days where you have motivation, days where you don't. Days when you do well, days when you fuck up. It happens. Right. The question is, what do you maintain? Where are you consistent?
100%, dude. That's so well put. That's beautiful. I'm curious to know how you even got into this. Did you have when you were younger? This is like a much deeper question. I'm just trying to like understand you. When you were younger, because if I'm not mistaken, you're Israeli, obviously, but you're also you lived in France for a time. Did you?
Right. I was born in Paris.
Okay. So from Paris and then to Israel, now to Vegas. When did like your journey start? Because I know you're doing karate for a while.
I started at 15 with karate. Mm-hmm. Before that, I was training some martial arts a little bit, nothing, just a little bit as a hobby. Then stopped training, like back and forth, on and off always. And when I really found like a good gym that I felt at home, and I really wanted to learn, and I grew a little older, and I was a little bit more serious about training. That's when I really got the bug and started dedicating my life to it. Everything was revolving martial arts. You eat, you dream about martial arts, you think about martial arts, you watch martial arts, you train, and you start making sacrifices. You stop going to parties with friends.
Mm-hmm.
What
was that like? What was that like, man?
Weddings, bar mitzvahs, whatever it is. You always gotta say no. I'm training.
You must have lost a lot of friends doing that.
Yeah, a lot of. Yeah, that's true. And also, you disappoint a lot of people. Like losing friends, you think, if I lost them, they weren't my friends anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of times you disappoint people. You disappoint family members who want you to go somewhere because it's the right thing to do, and it is the right thing to do. Not if you want to be champion.
Right.
And people will think you're extreme. People will say, look, training is great, but you're overdoing it. That's stuff people, who never like really dedicate themselves to something will tell you.
You're not a common person. I'm not, like I said, I'm not somebody who's been doing martial arts like you. I did the Krav Maga in the army, and I'm very into it, and I definitely want to get more into it at some point soon. But I definitely love to work. I love to. I always have these different passions, and most people don't get that. Most people don't understand that, especially for someone like you, who you're not just dedicated to something. You're dedicated to something extremely difficult and dangerous, something that most of the human population would never even do. So they won't. I think just people won't understand you for two reasons. You get what I'm saying? For what you're doing and how much you're putting into it. And the only people that will understand you are people that are either doing it as well or people who are extremely, extremely driven in whatever field that they're in. So, I don't know what you're going through, but I feel like I understand it, because in order to be amazing in anything, you have to be extreme. You have to be crazy. You have to be fucking crazy, and you have to think about it all day like it's a wet dream. All day. I mean, it's a weird way to put it, but you think all day.
You're a great swimmer when you go and swim 3 times a week for an hour. Like, no.
Hell no. And this is what it is, and I'm glad you're telling me this, because I think you're gonna go extremely far.
Yeah, first of all, I'm not trying to copy anybody and be anybody.
Right.
When asked like who I think has the best character or something, without a doubt, it's GSP. Look, of course we fight. It's a messy business, but I don't see 2 things. First of all, a reason to disrespect each other, like for views or some stupid shit like that. This is what you call being a sellout. when you're fake to get views or money. Um, and kind of at the end of the day, we're colleagues. Whether I win or lose, like that fight we did together is what will bring us up or down. So let's make it a good fight. If you want to sell more pay-per-views, yeah, you can start talking shit and stuff like that. But some people prove that you can do that with your skill and not with your mouth. So that's what I look at.
For sure. It kind of reminds me of comedy. How a lot of comedians, they just use sex as a way to make it, you get what I'm to kind of push their business.
Yeah.
So in the sense, shit talking in fighting is I think a similar way of kind of just cheating your way into it because of all that entertainment and noise. But I respect you a lot for that because it's tempting. It's definitely tempting. And some people, I think some people are natural at it and some people aren't. So
when you're natural at it, when it's the real you, go ahead, do it.
Right.
But when it's fake, why do it?
Right.
And some people might, have a problem with me in the future. And if they tell me something, I'm not going to sit there and let them say whatever they want. But I'm not looking forward to getting into verbal exchanges with people. I don't think it's necessary. And and if it's fake, I'll call it out immediately. When people tell me like, "Oh, you're so real," I'm like,
shouldn't
why
everybody
would I
be?
not be? Like, why would anybody be fake?
Yeah. This is exactly why, even though I was born in America, this is why I always got along with Israelis so well. This is because Israelis are just such straightforward people. It's so much easier for me to deal with them than with a lot of Americans because they don't say what they mean and mean what they say. And it's not even that they don't want to, it's just not as much in their, especially in Florida, by the way, because I don't know if I told you, I grew up in New York, and in New York, they're very much like that. Yeshua, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And coming to Florida, people are more passive-aggressive a lot of the time. They're like, oh, could you maybe, sort of, possibly, could you just say what you want to fucking say? You know what I mean? And then Israelis are like, no, achi, tavili sigaria. You know what I mean? And it's just, to translate that, it means like, bro, just give me a cigarette. And that's it. You're not offended by it. It's like a normal way of saying it, but it's just quick, easy, efficient. So, yeah, I definitely think you'll do fine with that because you're not working in finance. You're a professional fighter. So most people in your line of work are pretty straight to the point people.
Yeah.
So, hopefully you'll do pretty well in that regard. You won't have too many issues. But it's wild, man. When I saw you win, I'm just like thinking about how surreal it is because I'm not even living it. You're the one living it. But like for you, you're in the UFC now. Like that's crazy shit. You ever just take a step back? You ever take a step back because you're so new and you're like, holy shit, I'm a UFC fighter now. Do you ever just like wake up in the middle of the night at 3 o'clock to take a piss and you're like, holy shit.
Yeah, I'm used to like being in the UFC, like being in the future. Like someday I'll be in the UFC.
Right.
And then I look in the mirror, I'm like, am I in the UFC right now?
It's crazy.
But, we still need to fight. Getting the contract is nice, but we still need to fight to
Yeah.
get some wins.
Yeah, you got a long road ahead of you. God, are you mainly going to fight at lightweight? Because I know you went up to catch weight. Okay.
Yeah.
God in heaven, like if only Khabib was staying a little longer. I mean, I know he's a little,
It's going to take me a little while.
Can you imagine if somehow you were able to submit him or smash him? I don't even, dude. Israel would literally, the country would be a massive party. The entire country would be partying.
I think nobody would hear about it. They'd still be talking about soccer players if that happened. But
really,
in the meantime, I'm still unranked. I only just signed the UFC, so I think it's a little early for that kind of talk.
I mean, I was being funny, but honestly, man, the sky's the limit, and who the hell knows? I mean, I don't think Khabib is that. I love how I call him Khabib. I'm so used to it. Like Khabib, he's so. He's not. I don't think he's the type to go back out of retirement. So most likely, I think he's done. Maybe one more, but I doubt.
Exactly, maybe one more, but that's it.
Yeah, he's also a really truthful person. I have a lot of respect for him.
True.
A lot of respect for him. So yeah, dude, it's wild that you're in it. And one more question I have, which is an interesting question, is I noticed from Instagram that you're married, and I see that your wife also seems to do some sort of martial arts as well. So how did you? And I'll explain this question because it's been something on my mind in business, but it's so important to have a partner that supports you, especially when you're not doing a 9 to 5, when you don't have a regular job, when you're doing something that takes unbelievable dedication, and you're doing something that most of the human population isn't willing to do. What was your journey like? Because I'm sure when you were fighting, you probably weren't making a lot of money. I mean, I could be wrong, but I'm assuming not, right? So,
yeah.
What was that journey like, being married and doing all that, and having your wife believe in you in that whole process? Kind of reminds me, even though you guys are totally different people, but kind of Connor and his wife when they were going through there's a lot of stories like this, but what has your experience been with this?
I'm super lucky that I found Dana, my wife, and she doesn't train in martial arts anymore, but she used to, and she gets it. When we first started dating, I told her, look, like, I want to be with you, but a year from now I'm going to leave Israel to the US to be a UFC fighter.
Mm-hmm.
She knew what that means. Most girls wouldn't even know what I'm talking about. And throughout the way, she always believed in me. She always supported me. It's been awesome to be together and finally get to this point. Kind of like, it didn't like return everything she put into me like so far, but we've done this together. Of course I want to make it and be champion and do big things like I planned, but that's already such a big step of the way that like it's already been worth it. Everything we put, the both of us, like all the time, all the effort, financially, it takes a lot of resources to get to where I'm at, and we both did, not just me.
That's I cannot wait until you do extremely well, and hopefully you make your millions.
Yeah, but I'm not talking only about money. Just repair, like I'm talking same like when I repay my coaches, like winning, being a champion. That's how I repay my coaches for the hard work, and same thing with Donna. And if like say we said with the shit talking, if I go so far in the UFC and don't make enough to be like financially set for life, that's okay. If I don't return my investment so far, that's okay. What's really important is always giving it my all.
Mm-hmm.
Not cutting any corners, not taking any shortcuts, and just getting as far as I can.
That's unbelievable. You're there because you love it. You're not there for any sort of financial gain or fame.
Exactly. Just giving your all at something like that. This is something you take with you for your whole life. I'm never gonna have regrets. I'm never gonna sit at a bar, 80-year-old, and say, "Oh, I could have been an MMA fighter. I could have been world champion. If only." No if onlys. I'm gonna give it all, and I don't know what I'm gonna tell at the bar at 80, but it's gonna be a good story.
Right. I don't know how people don't. I really don't understand how people don't do the things they want to. I mean, there's so many factors to it. I know people have, but yeah, it's so easy not to do it. But it's like, for me, there are plenty of things I want to do. Plenty of things I want to do. And I think I'm working on getting there. But I can't imagine. It's such a beautiful thing when you put the work in and you see it, and you look back. You just see how far you've come. I just, yeah, man, I'm really impressed, and I'm glad I asked the question about you and your wife because I don't know if anyone else has asked it on anyone else who's interviewed you, but I think it's something that teaches me a lesson where it's so important to find somebody that really believes in you.
Yeah, and I always thought that like being married or something like that would just like talking. I would say I'd never get married before I sign with the UFC.
Right.
Like when I sign with the UFC and I'm set, then I'll get married.
Mm-hmm.
Of course I was talking like about Dana, but first of all, like it's not true. It's completely wrong. And I realized that at some point along the way that me and Dana, it's like we're a team. We're stronger together. Within fighting, and of course without fighting, having a great life together, enjoying each other's company, being true friends, of each other, and it's not going to hurt anything. It's only going to make things better, and that's what I do.
I take a lot from that, man. I appreciate that because I'm learning from that. I'm not married, and I've realized the importance of having somebody that really understands your passions and stands next to you and helps push you, and that goes for both sides. If you have a woman that's very passionate about her own things, that you push her too.
Pack the cats. We're moving to Vegas.
How many cats you got?
Yeah.
Okay. I grew up with my grandmother, so we had 2 cats growing up also. That's funny. So yeah, man. I mean, do you plan on? I mean, Vegas is kind of where a lot of fighters go. But do you plan on staying there for the long term, or it's not something you're thinking about?
I'm not really putting too much thought into it right now. I'm focused on the closer near future,
Mm-hmm.
and for now I'm here. After fighting, we'll see, but it's going to take some time. I don't plan on hanging the gloves so early.
Okay. Okay. Awesome. I'm sure. And then as far as just being an Israeli in the UFC, how is that going? As far as what crazy experiences have you gotten? Maybe from any kind of marketing companies, not even in a financial sense, but what have you experienced that you kind of feel very unique about? Because I know I was reading some article about Dana White mentioning you and saying, the lawyers are going crazy. He's this Israeli in the UFC, yada yada. Like, how is that? Do you feel kind of, I'm the Israeli guy? Does it give you any sort of unique feeling?
It's like when I won the contenders fight and I got the contract, I told my coaches, like, yo, we made some history tonight. And I think it's true, but I also think all my career I never wanted to be good for an Israeli. I just wanted to be good.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, it's nice, when it's a good push being Israeli and having all the national channels like reach out for interviews and stuff like that. But for me, it's a little more cool when I get an article about me on ESPN.com.
Yes.
That means I'm really good. It doesn't mean like I'm alright I'm good. So that's what I strive to be. And of course, I'm very proud I'm Israeli and I'm very happy to wave the flag when I get in the cage and everything. But I just want to be the best I can be. Maybe the best in the world one day. But
I hope so, bro.
me too. But just sometimes you can be average in the world, but good for an Israeli, and that's not what I'm aiming for.
I completely understand. I completely get that. Yeah, and I hope you will be. But also, do you think that Israel is starting to become more interested in MMA? Do you think that you've had a hand to play in that?
I think right now Israelis don't have much opportunity to be good MMA fighters in Israel.
Why is that?
Got we've got a good generation of pioneers who went to Israel, to the US, to Brazil, studied all the martial arts. They just didn't have any structure to become champions, right? All the odds were against them. Champions were getting to the UFC. And then we have Noad, of course, who did make it, but he's in the US. But anyway, my point is we've got the coaches, but we need more than that. We need structure. We need competition. Um, we need more masses training so people have more fighters to work with. And I think it's always growing. I think it's at a point right now where like I made it, but I had to leave Israel. And me, I really want to bring it to a point where people don't have to leave Israel. Sure, fly out for some training camps, but at the end of the day, if I could have everything I have here in Israel, it would be perfect. It'd be more than a dream, right? If I had all these coaches.
Right.
So maybe not these specific ones, but for a kid growing up, if you can have a great boxing coach, a great jiu-jitsu coach in Israel, that's great. Now, give him a great MMA coach that can mix it all together. Give him a platform to compete on an amateur level. Give him a platform to compete on a pro level. And then you'll get some good fighters. Because we're a nation of fighters that we need for professional sports. Israel is not the best country. And
Right.
we need to, for every sport, take it a few steps up, but especially for MMA, because I think we could do really good in that field.
I think Israelis would do phenomenally if we actually start to get into it.
Yeah.
You know, we're all, everybody's going to the military. There's all of this. You know, it makes so much sense. I think it's just if it was promoted more. And honestly, Natan, you're a pioneer for this. You can create a massive change in that regard.
I will. I'm gonna do everything I can. Right now I'm here, but I'm gonna try remotely, help out as much as I can.
Yeah.
And at some point, that could be a big reason to move back to Israel. First of all, to teach martial arts, train people, but also to build like a good, solid MMA community foundation for fighters to leave Israel, fight in big leagues around the world, and be successful.
I'm looking forward to that. I'm definitely looking forward to that. This was something that I was thinking about because I'm kind of just noticing how, you know, certain countries, for instance, I mentioned Khabib earlier, but, you know, with Dagestan was never really on the map until he came along. And now all these fighters from Dagestan and the Caucasus, you know, like Chechnya, all those, you know, neighboring countries, they have a lot of fighters. So now this country's on the map, and all these guys.
They've always been incredible wrestlers,
Right.
but now in MMA they're showing different skill set. Some of them even do kung fu, like competitive kung fu stand-up at the high level, and when they mix it all over there with their toughness, with their athleticism, they're dangerous fighters. They're scary fighters, and Israel can be the same thing.
Sure. Definitely. I see. Israelis definitely could be very, you know, I think we're a country that's always innovative and always trying to learn new things and build new things. There's nothing that we really can't do at the end of the day. And I think if fighting starts to become more common, you'll end up with amazing fighters coming out of Israel. I'm extremely confident. So it's only a matter of time and a matter of promoting it, and you know, God willing, you'll become a champion. You'll become an incredible fighter, and that'll motivate other younger Israelis to follow suit. You know, and you know, it'll be a good influence. So I'm looking forward to that. I see that happening for sure. You know.
Yeah, I hope, you know, I had a very uphill struggle to get to where I'm at, and I just like to help people make that uphill a little less steep.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, when you listen, man, if you're in Miami, I don't know if you ever come here?
I'm gonna be in Tallahassee this weekend.
Tallahassee.
I guess Eli Barzilai is fighting.
Oh, he's fighting in Tallahassee?
Yeah.
Damn, that is far as fuck from me.
Yeah, I bet.
Damn it. That's all the way up north, man. I'm all the way down south. It's a shame, though, because I would love to. Honestly, man, I'm like, part of me is thinking about it. But,
if you can come, I think you can come watch the fight. We can hang out.
that would be dope, man. That would be amazing. It's an option. I'm gonna think about it. I'm definitely gonna think about it. Yeah. So, as far as all of this conversation goes, there's. I'm sure there would be. Let me just quickly look back because I want to make sure that like those questions that I asked were covered. Okay, so I asked you 2 out of 3. So my other question was, what was your experience like in LFA, and how do you think it prepared you for UFC? Like, do you think LFA is at all on par with UFC? Meaning, do you think there are fighters who are completely UFC, worthy, or do how do you mentally see it? Is it just a different name?
No, absolutely, because LFA is the biggest platform, like the biggest feeder to the UFC.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning that like all their champions go to the UFC, all their top contenders end up in the UFC or other big promotions, but usually the UFC. This is the place to go if you want to be in the UFC. Like, it's the highest national level in the US, right? UFC is international.
Right.
Bellator, it's international. US national level, and they got people competing from all over the world, of course, Israel, Brazil, and whatnot, but all the circuit is national. All the locations are in the US. Mm-hmm. So that's the biggest promotion for the USA. So the most talent, and if you can get wins there, you can make it to the UFC and do big things, I think.
Sounds great. Okay. No, I just wasn't sure.
If you want to go, you can go to another promotion, get some easy wins, fight tomato cans, have your record, be 40-0, then come to the UFC and get smoked.
Right.
Or you can have tough fights, tough challenges, fight strong dudes, weed out the weak, and whoever makes it on top, he's worthy.
It's kind of like with what Adesanya did. Adesanya fought, he did like 70 or 80 kickboxing matches before he even joined. Yeah. So by the time he joined, he was sharp. Exactly. You think Khamzat has any chance against him, by the way?
No.
He's really confident, though.
Confidence.
It's
great, but it's it's a big element in fighting, but there's some other like technique, skill.
Yeah, you were extremely confident. You're extremely confident with that answer. You immediately were like, no chance.
Of course, like maybe in a couple of years, who knows? But from what we've seen so far, you can't compare the champion to some, guy who's maybe in the top 15.
Unbelievable what Israel Adesanya has been able to accomplish. Unreal. Honestly,
unbelievable.
I would not be surprised if he beat Jones. Tell me whatever you want. You could say I would not be surprised.
I would put him as a favorite, but momentum is a big thing in fighting in life, and John has been slowly going down for a few years, and Israel is.
Yeah, that's a very good way to put it. That's a very good point.
And I think if they meet at the right time, Israel's momentum could do a lot for him.
When they say size matters, right? But in the case of Adesanya, man, he's proven time and time again that size really does not make a difference.
Size matters, but size. Look, when they say size don't matter, they mean that like technique is a strength multiplier, right?
Sure.
We both have the same strength, but I have technique. I'm multiplying my strength. Same thing with your size. You're a little bigger, but my technique multiplies my strength, so you're not that big and strong.
Right.
But size and strength is also a technique multiplier, right?
Mm-hmm.
We have the same technique. You're bigger, stronger. You're gonna win.
Right.
So I think Israel is way better of a striker than Jones.
Mm-hmm.
And not that Jones is bad at all, he's great, but Israel is on a different level. And in the grappling, I don't think there is that much of a gap. Of course, Jones is amazing, he's one of the best fighters of all time, don't get me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But at the right time, the gap might not be that big, and John Jones' bigger frame might not mean that much.
That's a fight I would kill to see.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, I'm praying that fight happens soon because I am literally, I'll randomly think about it. By the way, I'll be at work at like 4 PM, and I'm like, Jones and Adesanya. Like I would, bro. I need to see that fight. I'm telling you, I need to see that. Like I'm by far one of the most. One of the most exciting fights. I can't even think about a more exciting fight, other than obviously your fights. Come on, no. Eventually, bro. Eventually, but yeah. God, that's because I really can't say who would win. I really don't fucking know. Like to be honest, with Khabib and Gaethje, there was no doubt in my mind, man. Like there really was no. Other people were like, I was like, nobody can beat the guy. I really just, I don't think there is a human on the planet out there that can put the guy to sleep or that can not. I just don't think that he exists. Maybe he'll be born later on, but I don't know.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
High level.
It's just a different world, man. And that's also something, we're going a bit in a rabbit hole here, but it's just like all coming to mind. I think Khabib is just somebody who, he doesn't have distractions. Like he's such a devout Muslim. He doesn't drink. He doesn't party. He doesn't care about all these flashy things, nice cars, this, that. He does, he fights.
He cares a little bit, I think, but
maybe, but how much really? I don't know. He does. You're saying flashy things?
Doesn't care too much. Let's say that doesn't care too much.
Okay, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure you know about him better than I do, but whatever his distractions are, they're probably pretty minimal compared to most people.
Yeah, absolutely.
And all of these years where people are spending drinking and partying and this and that. And a lot of the fighters are doing different drugs, and they're obviously going out and fooling around a lot because they can.
Smoking,
yeah. So that's a lot of time taking away from your health. And I get it. Like most people, they're not religious or devoutly religious. Why would they not? They want to live and enjoy. But when you're going up against a fighter who doesn't do those things, he's got an advantage. Because he's not.
That's a big advantage of mine. Is I don't have much distractions. Of course, I'm not Khabib. I'm not all set. Got the driver waiting outside my apartment.
Right.
But I'm doing well enough right now to really be focused. I never worked while I was in training camp.
Wow.
I really can't work in the US. I don't have a visa to work or I got a visa to fight. So I'm just focused on fighting. I'm just training full time. I don't party. I don't do any of that stuff. And sometimes when I'm about to fight somebody and I open his Instagram and I see he works at Walmart or he's got 2 kids or whatnot, I feel like it's a big advantage.
For sure. Wow, it's
I'm a fighter full time. This guy works in and out. It's not the same.
Yeah, man, you can't say it any better than that. I like how you're so cutthroat about it. You're like, this guy doesn't have what I've got. Yeah, that's true. You're all in.
Exactly.
And that's key. That's what you have to be. So, dude, I'm really glad. Let's see, how long have we? Keep taking my glasses in and out. The weather finally got cold in Florida, so my allergies are fucking killing me. But all right, so 43 minutes. I think that's a decent amount of time. What have you? I'm just a little out of it. Bro, I really appreciate you coming on. It's been an absolute pleasure. It did take some time. You noticed how I was persistent, though. You know, like you had no idea who I was, bro. But I was like, I'm getting this dude on the podcast.
That's how you get shit done,
bro. I'll just give you like I could have given you a bit of a backstory in the beginning of the episode, but you know, people who know me already know this, but I grew up without parents, and my grandmother raised me, so definitely didn't have it easy. And you know, I've accomplished a solid amount of things in my life so far. There's a lot of other things I want to accomplish, but you know, I'm 26. I'm young, and I'm completely independent. I take care of myself, and I'm just very happy with where I am right now. I have a lot more to do. I definitely want to get into martial arts, by the way. I'm not set on becoming a professional, but I definitely, one of my goals is to be a black belt in BJJ for sure. It's on my list. I know it's going to take a long time. It could take as much as 10 years, but I've always loved it. I've always loved fighting, and you know, I can definitely be an aggressive person. So not in a bad way, but I just have it in me. So it's very fitting. I know jiu-jitsu is not necessarily the most you know, aggressive of the martial arts, but
yeah, for sure. And first of all, that's great, and I'm happy for you. And you know, we talked a lot today about, like we said, being persistent. That's a good thing. You know, even when people say no, keep going. People will ask, people will mock you, people will tell you what you're doing is all wrong.
mm-hmm.
And really what you gotta have is like self-belief and work at it, work ethic, and that's it. The sky's the limit.
For sure. See that we're talking right now, bro, and that's simply because I was like, you might as well do the episode sooner than later because I'm going to keep following up with you. I did tell you that. So, and this is pretty much what I'm going to be doing with anybody I think would be, you know, somebody that I'm really interested in talking to. You know, let's be realistic. I'm not a famous person. So at the end of the day, for me to, and I'm not interested in fame necessarily, but this is an opportunity for me as a human to connect with someone like you, whereas in a situation without a podcast, this wouldn't be as, you know, get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Wouldn't be as doable of a thing. So, yeah. So with all that being said, man, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, bro. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure, bro.
And good luck to you. And we'll be in touch.
For sure. And hopefully, if I decide to make the trip to Tallahassee, we'll spend some time. We'll hang out.
Sounds good.
Thank you, brother. Guys, this has been another episode of Soothing Semantics. Natan, thanks again for coming. Guys, make sure to tune into the episode. Check him out on Instagram. Check out his fights. You can check everything out on YouTube. He is going to be in he's already in the UFC. And for any of you MMA UFC fans, follow him. He's going to be doing big things.
Peace. Thank you very much.
You got it.